Top 5 Oregon Ghost Towns with Dark Histories. Echoes of the Forgotten. Welcome to the Forgotten Shadows of Oregon. Greetings, dear friends, and welcome to another spine-chilling journey into the heart of the supernatural. Tonight, we gather in the eerie glow of our screens to explore some of the most bone-chilling, real-life ghost towns ever left to decay in the misty forests, forgotten valleys, and desolate landscapes of Oregon. From crumbling mining settlements to abandoned logging communities, these ghost towns stand as silent witnesses to tragedies long past, their walls whispering secrets of the dead to those brave enough to listen. Whether you're a lifelong resident or simply an admirer of the macabre, prepare yourself for a night of whispered warnings, ghostly encounters, and the lingering presence of things that go bump in the night. Oregon's history is rich with stories that have been passed down through generations, each one growing darker and more elaborate with time. Some of these legends are rooted in real-life tragedies, twisted by the passage of time into something far more sinister. Others are pure fabrications, born from the fertile imaginations of those who love a good scare. But whether they stem from truth or fiction, they all share one thing in common: they have left an indelible mark on the people who dare to speak their names. From the desolate streets of Shaniko, where the echoes of a vanished community still linger, to the cursed ruins of Buxton, where the shadows seem to move of their own accord, Oregon's ghost towns hold a darkness that refuses to be forgotten. Some speak of shadowy figures lurking in the corners of shuttered buildings, waiting to ensnare the unwary traveler. Others tell of cursed objects that bring misfortune to anyone who dares to possess them. And then there are the stories that defy explanation, tales of disappearances that were never solved, eerie sounds that echo through empty streets, and the lingering presence of those who should have moved on but never did. As we delve into these chilling accounts, remember that the line between the living and the dead is often thinner than we dare to believe. These stories may be nothing more than cautionary tales meant to keep children from wandering too far after dark, or they may be warnings from those who have encountered something they cannot explain. Whether you believe in the supernatural or simply enjoy a good scare, one thing is certain: once you hear these legends, they will stay with you, whispering in the back of your mind long after the screen fades to black. So, dear friends, turn off the lights, lean in close, and prepare yourself for a journey through the most terrifying ghost towns Oregon has to offer. The shadows are waiting, and they have stories to tell. Shaniko, the wool capital that fell to ruin deep in the high desert of central Oregon, nestled in the rolling hills of Wasco County, lies the abandoned town of Shaniko, a once thriving hub of commerce and trade that has long since fallen into ruin. Known as the wool capital of the world, in the early 1900s, Shaniko was a bustling settlement, its streets lined with saloons, hotels, and general stores catering to the ranchers and sheepherders who flocked to the region. At its peak, the town boasted a population of over 1,000 residents, with a thriving economy fueled by the wool industry. But as the demand for wool declined and the railroad bypassed the town, Shaniko was left to decay, its buildings slowly crumbling beneath the weight of time. Today, it stands as a ghost town in every sense of the word, its empty streets and hollowed-out buildings said to be haunted by the spirits of those who once called it home. According to local legend, the town's most infamous ghost is that of a former sheriff who was killed in a shootout during a robbery gone wrong. His body was buried in the town's cemetery, but his spirit is said to still patrol the streets, ensuring that no harm comes to the town, even though it has been abandoned for decades. Some claim to have seen his ghostly figure standing on the steps of the old courthouse, his hand resting on the butt of his revolver, watching silently as trespassers pass by. Others describe the sound of boots echoing through the empty streets late at night, though no one is ever present. Another well-known haunting involves the Shaniko Hotel, once a grand establishment that welcomed weary travelers passing through the region. Today, the hotel is little more than a skeletal frame of its former self, its windows shattered and its hallways lined with dust-covered furniture. Visitors have reported strange occurrences within the building, cold spots that appear without warning, disembodied voices whispering in the darkness, and the sensation of being watched by unseen eyes. Some claim to have seen the flickering outline of a woman in a 1920s flapper dress standing in the hallway, only to vanish when approached. Others describe the sound of a piano playing in one of the upstairs rooms, though the instrument has long since been removed. Perhaps the most chilling account comes from a group of hikers who stumbled upon the town one foggy evening. As they explored the ruins, they heard the unmistakable sound of a church bell tolling in the distance. Confused, they followed the sound to what remained of the town's old chapel, where they found the bell swaying gently in the windless night. As they stood there, watching in disbelief, the bell suddenly stopped, and the air grew unbearably cold. A moment later, the sound of footsteps echoed from the cemetery behind the chapel, though no one else was present. The hikers fled the town that night, swearing never to return. Whether the legends of Shaniko are rooted in truth or merely the product of an overactive imagination, one thing is certain: the town holds a mystery that refuses to be forgotten. Whether it is the lingering spirits of its former residents, or something far older and more enigmatic, the ghosts of Shaniko continue to watch over the empty streets, waiting for the town to come back to life. Buxton, the cursed logging town tucked away in the dense forests of southern Oregon. The ghost town of Buxton once thrived as a bustling logging community in the early 1900s. Built to support the nearby timber industry, Buxton was home to hundreds of workers and their families, its streets filled with the sounds of sawmills and the laughter of children. But tragedy struck in 1923, when a devastating fire swept through the town, reducing much of it to ashes. Though some residents attempted to rebuild, the town was ultimately abandoned, leaving behind only the skeletal remains of what once was. Today, Buxton is a place of eerie silence, where the rustling of leaves in the wind is the only sound to be heard. But for those who dare to explore its ruins, the past is far from quiet. Local lore speaks of the town's most infamous haunting, the tale of the Shadow People of Buxton. According to legend, shortly after the fire, strange figures began appearing in the town's remaining structures. These figures, described as pure darkness with human-shaped silhouettes, were said to move without making a sound, vanishing the moment they were acknowledged. Some believe they are the spirits of those who perished in the fire, their souls trapped in the ruins of their former homes. Others suggest they are something far older, entities that took advantage of the town's destruction to make themselves known. One of the most frequently reported encounters involves the town's old general store, one of the few buildings that survived the fire. Visitors claim to hear the sound of a cash register opening and closing on its own, accompanied by the faint hum of a radio playing music from the early 20th century. Some have even reported seeing the flickering outline of a man in an old-fashioned apron standing behind the counter, only to vanish when approached. Others describe the sensation of being watched as they wander through the store's aisles, as if an unseen presence lingers just out of sight. The most chilling account comes from a group of paranormal investigators who explored the town late one night. As they set up their equipment near the remnants of the town's saloon, they captured what appeared to be a shadowy figure standing near the bar, staring at them with hollow eyes. The figure remained motionless for several seconds before slowly turning its head toward the camera, revealing a face frozen in an expression of sheer terror. Moments later, the figure vanished, leaving behind only the sound of distant screams echoing through the empty streets. Despite the eerie reputation of Buxton, it remains a popular destination for those seeking a glimpse into the past. Whether the spirits of the town's former residents truly linger or whether the fear of what happened there lingers in the minds of those who visit, one thing is certain: those who step inside may not be alone. Sumter, the gold mining ghost town perched in the remote mountains of eastern Oregon. Sumter was once a booming gold mining town, its streets lined with saloons, shops, and a bustling population drawn by the promise of fortune. Established in the late 1800s, the town thrived for decades, with mines producing millions of dollars worth of gold. But as the mines dried up and the economy shifted, Sumter was left to the mercy of time, its buildings slowly succumbing to the elements. Today, the town is a shell of its former self, its remaining structures standing as silent sentinels of a bygone era. But for those who dare to explore its ruins, Sumter is more than just a relic of history. It is a place where the past refuses to rest. One of the most frequently reported hauntings in Sumter is that of the Sumter Hotel, once a grand establishment that welcomed weary miners and travelers alike. Though the hotel is now a crumbling husk, visitors claim to hear the sound of footsteps echoing through the empty hallways, as if unseen guests still roam the building. Some report feeling an overwhelming sense of sadness in the hotel's dining room, as if the air itself mourns the loss of the vibrant life that once filled its walls. Others describe the flickering outline of a woman in a 1920s flapper dress standing near the staircase, only to vanish when approached. Another well-known legend involves the Sumter Valley Railroad, which once carried gold from the mines to the outside world. According to local lore, a train carrying a shipment of gold derailed in the early 1900s, killing the entire crew. Since then, visitors have reported hearing the distant sound of a train whistle echoing through the valley, though no trains have run on the tracks in decades. Some claim to see the flickering lights of a phantom locomotive moving along the rails late at night, only to disappear before they can get a clear look. Others describe the sensation of being watched by something unseen as they walk along the tracks, as if the spirits of the dead still guard the lost riches of the past. The most chilling account comes from a group of hikers who explored the town one foggy afternoon. As they wandered through the ruins, they began to hear the unmistakable sound of a woman sobbing. Confused, they followed the sound to what remained of the town's old schoolhouse, where they found the doors slightly ajar. Inside, they saw the flickering outline of a woman standing in the corner, her back turned to them as she wept softly. When they called out to her, she turned slowly, revealing a face devoid of features, just smooth, pale skin where eyes, nose, and mouth should have been. The hikers fled the town that day, swearing never to return. Whether these stories are the result of natural phenomena, such as shifting air currents and echoes distorting sound, or something more supernatural, one thing remains certain: the ghosts of Sumter refuse to be forgotten. Whether it is the lingering spirits of the miners who toiled in the mountains or something far older and more enigmatic, the town's history is steeped in mystery, and those who visit may find themselves haunted long after they leave. Silver City, the haunted mining camp tucked away in the rugged Oahe Mountains of southeastern Oregon. Silver City was once a thriving mining camp, its streets filled with prospectors and settlers seeking their fortunes. Founded in the 1860s, the town quickly grew into a bustling settlement, complete with saloons, a post office, and even a newspaper. But as the gold rush faded and the mines ran dry, Silver City was abandoned, its buildings left to the mercy of the elements. Today, the town is a ghostly relic, its weathered structures standing as silent witnesses to a past steeped in tragedy. And for those who dare to explore its ruins, the ghosts of Silver City are said to still walk among the crumbling walls. One of the most frequently reported hauntings in Silver City is that of the phantom miners. According to legend, a group of miners were trapped underground in the late 1800s when a cave-in sealed them inside. Their bodies were never recovered, and locals claim that the sound of pickaxes striking rock can still be heard deep within the abandoned tunnels. Some say the miners are still trying to dig their way out, their spirits forever bound to the place of their demise. Others believe the sounds are warnings from beyond, urging the living to stay away from the mines that claimed so many lives. Another well-known legend involves the town's old cemetery, where the graves of the town's former residents lie scattered among the trees. Visitors have reported strange occurrences within the burial ground, cold spots that appear without warning, disembodied voices whispering in the darkness, and the sensation of being watched by unseen eyes. Some claim to have seen the flickering outline of a man in a miner's uniform standing among the gravestones, only to vanish when approached. Others describe the sound of a woman crying softly in the distance, though no source can be found. The most chilling account comes from a group of hikers who explored the town one foggy evening. As they wandered through the ruins, they began to hear the sound of a child laughing. Confused, they called out, assuming another group of hikers had entered the area. But there was no response, and when they turned around, they found themselves completely alone. The laughter continued, growing louder and more distorted, until it abruptly stopped. Moments later, a cold gust of wind swept through the clearing, extinguishing their flashlights and plunging them into darkness. When they finally managed to relight their lights, they found themselves standing in front of a wall that had not been there before. Whether these stories are the result of natural phenomena, such as shifting air currents and echoes distorting sound, or something more supernatural, one thing remains certain: the ghosts of Silver City hold on to their past with a grip that refuses to loosen. Whether it is the lingering spirits of the miners who perished underground or something far older and more enigmatic, the town's history is steeped in mystery, and those who visit may find themselves caught in its spectral embrace. Granite, the town that refused to die. High in the mountains of eastern Oregon, nestled in the Elkhorn Range, lies the ghost town of Granite, a once thriving mining settlement that has long since fallen into ruin. Founded in the late 1800s, Granite was home to hundreds of residents, its streets lined with saloons, boarding houses, and a bustling opera house that once hosted live performances for the town's elite. At its peak, the town boasted a population of over 200 as the mines produced millions of dollars worth of gold. But as the mines dried up and the economy shifted, Granite was slowly abandoned, its buildings left to the mercy of the elements. Today, it stands as a haunting reminder of the past, its weathered structures whispering secrets to those brave enough to listen. One of the most frequently reported hauntings in Granite is that of the phantom miner, a shadowy figure said to wander the abandoned shafts and tunnels of the old gold mines. According to local legend, this figure is the spirit of a miner who was trapped underground during a cave-in in the early 1900s. His body was never recovered, and some believe he still searches for a way out, his ghostly presence lingering in the darkness. Visitors claim to hear the sound of a pickaxe striking stone deep within the tunnels, though no one has worked in the mines for over a century. Some describe the sensation of being watched as they explore the ruins, as if unseen eyes follow their every move. Another well-known legend involves the town's old opera house, once the cultural center of Granite. Though the building has long since fallen into disrepair, visitors claim to hear the faint strains of music drifting through the air, accompanied by the sound of distant applause. Some believe these are echoes of past performances, lingering in the very walls of the building. Others claim to see the flickering outline of a woman in a Victorian-era dress standing near the stage, only to vanish when approached. One particularly unsettling account comes from a group of paranormal investigators who set up their equipment inside the opera house one foggy night. As they reviewed their footage the next day, they noticed a shadowy figure moving across the stage, pausing occasionally as if speaking to an unseen audience. When they played back the audio, they captured what sounded like the soft murmur of conversation, though no one else was in the building at the time. Perhaps the most chilling account comes from a local historian who visited the town one stormy evening. As he explored the ruins, he began to hear the sound of a woman singing softly in the distance. Confused, he followed the sound to what remained of the town's old church, where he found the doors slightly ajar. Inside, he saw the flickering outline of a woman standing near the altar, her lips moving as if in prayer. When he called out to her, she turned slowly, revealing a face frozen in an expression of sheer terror. The moment their eyes met, the historian felt an overwhelming sense of dread wash over him, and he fled the town, vowing never to return. Whether the legends of Granite are rooted in truth or merely the product of an overactive imagination, one thing is certain: the town holds a mystery that has yet to be unraveled. Whether it is the lingering spirits of the miners who perished underground or something far older and more enigmatic, the ghosts of Granite continue to draw in those who dare to explore its remains, leaving behind only whispers in the dark. Waldo, the vanishing town tucked away in the remote mountains of southern Oregon, the ghost town of Waldo is a place shrouded in mystery. Once a thriving mining settlement in the mid-1800s, Waldo was home to hundreds of residents who sought their fortunes in the gold-rich hills. At its peak, the town boasted saloons, hotels, and a bustling population that lived and died by the rhythm of the mines. But as the gold ran dry and the economy shifted, Waldo was slowly abandoned, its buildings left to crumble beneath the weight of time. Today, the town is little more than a scattering of ruins, its streets overgrown with vegetation. Yet, despite its desolation, Waldo remains a place where the past refuses to be forgotten. One of the most frequently reported hauntings in Waldo involves the ghost of a former prospector who is said to still wander the town's outskirts. According to local lore, this man spent his final years searching for gold in the surrounding hills, refusing to leave even as the town was abandoned. Some say he was the last resident of Waldo, determined to find one last strike before passing away. Others believe he was cursed, doomed to wander the land for eternity. Visitors claim to hear the sound of a shovel striking stone late at night, though no one is ever present. Some have even reported seeing a flickering lantern bobbing through the trees, only to vanish when approached. Another well-known legend involves the town's old general store, one of the few buildings that remain partially intact. According to local lore, the store was once owned by a reclusive woman who refused to leave even as the town was abandoned. She was said to have been a witch, casting curses upon those who dared to trespass in her absence. Some claim that the store is still filled with supplies from the 19th century, untouched by time, while others describe the sound of a cash register opening and closing on its own. Visitors have reported strange sensations while exploring the building, cold spots that appear without warning, disembodied voices whispering in the darkness, and the unmistakable feeling of being watched by something unseen. The most chilling account comes from a group of explorers who visited the town one foggy night. As they wandered through the ruins, they began to hear the sound of a woman humming softly in the distance. Confused, they followed the sound to the general store, where they found the doors slightly ajar. Inside, they saw the flickering outline of a woman standing near the shelves, her back turned to them as she reached for an unseen object. When they called out to her, she turned slowly, revealing a face frozen in an expression of sheer terror. Before they could react, she vanished, leaving behind only the scent of burning wood and the distant sound of a train whistle echoing through the hills. Despite the eerie reputation of Waldo, it remains a popular destination for those seeking a glimpse into the past. Whether the spirits of the town's former residents truly linger or whether the fear of what happened there lingers in the minds of those who visit, one thing is certain: those who enter may not be alone. The Forgotten Children of Forest Grove. Deep in the heart of Washington County, Oregon, lies the small town of Forest Grove, a quiet community known for its tree-lined streets and historic charm. But just beyond the town's peaceful exterior lies a darker legend, one that speaks of children who vanished without a trace, leaving behind only whispers in the wind and unanswered questions that have haunted the town for generations. According to local lore, the legend begins in the early 1900s, when a group of children from the town's local school were said to have wandered into the dense woods that border the outskirts of Forest Grove. They were playing a game of hide-and-seek when one of them, a young girl named Lily Harper, ran deeper into the trees than the others. When her friends called out for her, she never responded. Panicked, the children rushed back to town to alert the adults, and a frantic search party was organized. For days, townspeople combed through the woods, calling Lily's name and scanning every inch of the forest floor, but there was no sign of her. Weeks later, the legend claims, Lily's friends returned to the woods, determined to find some trace of their missing classmate. As they searched, they heard faint giggles coming from the trees, followed by the unmistakable sound of Lily's voice calling out to them. Without hesitation, they followed the sound deeper into the woods, only to find themselves standing in a clearing they had never seen before. There, they saw Lily, standing perfectly still, her eyes wide and unblinking. When they reached out to her, she suddenly vanished, leaving behind only the sound of laughter echoing through the trees. Since that day, the legend of the vanishing children has only grown, with more and more stories emerging over the years. Some claim that Lily was not the only child to disappear. Others followed, each one vanishing under similar circumstances, only to be seen again by those who dared to venture into the woods. Locals speak of strange occurrences in the forest, whispers in the trees, the sound of children playing in the distance, and fleeting glimpses of shadowy figures darting between the trees. Some even believe that the forest itself is alive, watching, waiting, and choosing who enters and who never returns. To this day, the woods near Forest Grove remain a place of mystery, a place where the past refuses to be forgotten. Whether the legend is rooted in truth or simply a tale meant to keep children from wandering too far, one thing is certain: the forest holds secrets that have yet to be uncovered, and the spirits of those who vanished may still linger, waiting to be found. The Phantom of the Oregon Shakespeare Festival. Nestled in the heart of Ashland, Oregon, the Oregon Shakespeare Festival is a beloved cultural institution, drawing theater enthusiasts from around the world to witness the timeless works of William Shakespeare performed under the open sky. Yet, beneath the grandeur of the festival's historic theaters and the echoes of classic performances, lies a chilling legend that has persisted for decades: the tale of the Phantom of the Oregon Shakespeare Festival. According to local lore, the festival's oldest theater, the Allen Elizabethan Theater, is haunted by the spirit of a former actor who met a tragic end during a performance in the 1940s. The story goes that the actor, a rising star in the festival's early years, was playing the lead role in Macbeth when he collapsed on stage during the final act. His death was officially ruled a heart attack, but rumors quickly spread that his demise was no accident. Some claimed he had been poisoned by a jealous rival, while others whispered of a curse placed upon the stage by an actor who had been wronged decades earlier. Since that fateful night, performers and crew members have reported strange occurrences within the theater. Actors claim to hear faint whispers in the wings, urging them to deliver their lines perfectly. Some have described the unsettling sensation of being watched, even when no one else is present. The most chilling account comes from a stagehand who worked the night shift for several years. He described an incident in which he noticed a figure standing near the penguin enclosure, watching him with hollow eyes before disappearing into thin air. The guard later admitted he never felt the same after that encounter, describing an unsettling chill that lingered in the air long after the figure had vanished. Despite the eerie reputation of the Oregon Shakespeare Festival, it remains a beloved destination for visitors and paranormal enthusiasts alike. Whether the legend is rooted in truth or merely the product of an overactive imagination, one thing is certain: those who perform on the stage may not be alone. The curse of the Oregon Vortex, tucked away in the dense forests of southern Oregon, deep within the Rogue River Siskiyou National Forest, lies a place that defies the laws of physics and logic: the Oregon Vortex. This seemingly ordinary patch of woodland has become infamous for its bizarre gravitational anomalies, optical illusions, and inexplicable occurrences that have left scientists, paranormal investigators, and curious visitors scratching their heads for decades. But beyond the scientific curiosity, the Oregon Vortex is also steeped in a darker legend, one of curses, disappearances, and the lingering presence of something that should not be. According to local folklore, the Oregon Vortex is not just a natural phenomenon but a gateway to another realm, a place where time and space behave in ways that cannot be explained by conventional science. The legend dates back to the early 1900s, when a group of prospectors stumbled upon the area while searching for gold. They reported strange occurrences: compasses spinning wildly, balls rolling uphill, and their own shadows appearing to move independently of their bodies. The most unsettling experience came when one of the men vanished without a trace. Despite an extensive search, no sign of him was ever found, and his companions claimed that the forest itself seemed to shift around them, making it impossible to retrace their steps. Since then, the Oregon Vortex has become a hotspot for paranormal activity, drawing in thrill-seekers, conspiracy theorists, and ghost hunters alike. Visitors describe feeling an overwhelming sense of unease when entering the area, as if they are being watched by unseen eyes. Some report sudden drops in temperature, even in the middle of summer, while others claim to hear faint whispers carried by the wind, though no one else is present. One of the most frequently reported experiences is the sensation of being physically pushed or pulled in a direction that defies logic. The Wailing Woman of Willamette Falls, perched along the banks of the Willamette River, just south of Portland, lies one of Oregon's most breathtaking natural landmarks, Willamette Falls. Towering over the water with its sheer cliffs and thundering cascades, the falls have long been a place of beauty and wonder. But beneath the roar of the rushing water lies a haunting legend that has been passed down through generations: the tale of the Wailing Woman of Willamette Falls. According to local lore, the Wailing Woman was once a Native American woman who lived in the region long before European settlers arrived. She was said to have fallen deeply in love with a man from a rival tribe, a forbidden romance that defied the customs of her people. When their love was discovered, the woman was cast out from her tribe, left to wander the forests alone while her lover was executed for the crime of loving her. Heartbroken and devastated, she sought solace at the edge of the falls, where she spent her final days mourning the loss of her beloved. One stormy night, as lightning illuminated the sky and thunder shook the earth, she was last seen standing at the very edge of the falls. Some say she leapt willingly, choosing to end her suffering, while others claim she was pushed by unseen hands, her fate sealed by the vengeful spirits of those who had banished her. Whatever the truth, her death marked the beginning of the legend. Since that fateful night, Those who visit the falls after dark have reported hearing the unmistakable sound of a woman wailing in despair, her cries echoing through the misty air. Over the years, the legend has only grown darker. Some say that those who hear the wailing woman's cries are doomed to misfortune, their lives forever haunted by the sorrow of the woman who lost everything. Others believe she appears as a ghostly figure standing at the edge of the falls, her long black hair whipping in the wind as she searches for the love she lost. There are even those who claim that if you stand too close to the falls at night, you may feel a cold hand brushing against your shoulder, only to turn and find no one there. Despite the eerie reputation of Willamette Falls, it remains a popular destination for visitors and paranormal investigators alike. Whether the legend is rooted in truth or simply a tale meant to warn against forbidden love, one thing is certain: the falls hold a mystery that refuses to be forgotten, and the wailing woman's cries still echo through the night. The abandoned Baker Heritage Museum, echoes of the past tucked away in the quiet town of Baker City, Oregon. The Baker Heritage Museum stands as a relic of the region's history, its halls filled with artifacts and exhibits chronicling the lives of those who once settled in the area. But before it became a museum, the building served as the town's first hospital, a place where countless patients sought treatment for illnesses and injuries. According to local lore, the hospital was known for its high mortality rate, with many patients passing away due to inadequate medical care and unsanitary conditions. Some believe that the spirits of those who perished within its walls have never truly left, their echoes lingering in the empty corridors long after the hospital was abandoned. One of the most frequently reported hauntings involves the apparition of a former nurse who is said to still roam the museum's halls. Witnesses describe seeing a woman in a vintage nurse's uniform walking through the building, only to vanish when approached. Some claim to hear her voice whispering softly, as if trying to comfort unseen patients. Others have reported feeling an icy breeze sweep through the museum, even on the warmest of nights, accompanied by the faint scent of antiseptic and decay. Another well-known ghost is that of a young boy who is said to have died in the hospital's surgical ward. Visitors have described hearing the sound of a child laughing in the empty rooms, only to find no one there when they investigate. Some have even claimed to see the flickering outline of a small figure darting between the exhibits, disappearing the moment they are noticed. One particularly unsettling account comes from a museum employee who claimed to have seen the boy standing in front of an old medical display, staring at it with wide, unblinking eyes before fading into the shadows. Despite the eerie reputation of the Baker Heritage Museum, it remains a popular destination for history buffs and paranormal enthusiasts alike. Whether the spirits of the hospital's past truly linger or whether the fear of what happened there lingers in the minds of those who visit, one thing is certain: those who step inside may not be alone. Whispers from Oregon's shadows. And so, dear friends, we reach the end of our journey through Oregon's most haunted ghost towns, a land where history and horror intertwine, where the past refuses to be buried, and where the echoes of lost souls still linger. From the desolate streets of Shaniko to the cursed ruins of Buxton, each town we explored tonight is a testament to the enduring power of the unknown. These are not mere relics of history, they are living, breathing reminders of tragedies endured, mysteries unsolved, and the unshakable presence of something beyond our understanding. Whether rooted in truth or born from the fertile imaginations of those who love a good scare, these legends remind us that the line between the living and the dead is often thinner than we dare to believe. Oregon's ghost towns, from the phantom miners of Sumter to the shadowy figures of Waldo, are more than crumbling buildings and overgrown roads. They are portals to the past, where the cries of the forgotten still echo in the wind and the weight of history presses down like a heavy fog. The wailing woman of Willamette Falls continues to mourn her lost love. The hollow man of the Oregon coast watches silently from the trees. And in the quiet corners of Salem, Ashland, and Newport, the spirits of the past continue to weave their stories into the fabric of everyday life. But our journey doesn't have to end here. The world of the supernatural is vast, and there are countless more legends waiting to be explored. If you've ever felt the chill of an unseen presence, heard a whisper in the dark, or stood in a place where the air itself seemed to hum with something beyond the veil of reality, we want to hear from you. Share your own eerie encounters in the comments below. Perhaps your story will be the next one we uncover. Until then, remember, whether you walk the fog-drenched streets of Shaniko, hike the haunted trails of Mount Tabor, or explore the echoing halls of Oregon's abandoned buildings, you may not be alone. The past is always watching. The spirits are always listening. And somewhere, in the quiet corners of Oregon, the legends are still waiting. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the haunted heart of the Pacific Northwest. If you enjoyed this tale, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another spine-chilling story. Until next time, stay curious, stay brave, and just maybe, sleep with the lights on. Evergreen Tree Ghost fade to black.